Lesson 23, Legal English. There are two main areas of law, criminal law and civil law. Criminal law deals with crime and punishment, whereas civil law involves settling disputes, resolving conflicts between individuals and/or organizations. Let's begin with criminal law, which decides if the suspect, the person who might have done something illegal, is innocent or guilty of a crime, an illegal act. First, the person is arrested. That means the police catch him and take him to the police station. If the person is acting violent, the police might also use handcuffs. Then he is charged with a crime. That means he is formally accused of the specific illegal act. A few examples of common crimes are assault, physically attacking someone, drug dealing, buying and selling illegal drugs, murder, killing someone, rape, forcing sexual relations on someone, theft, stealing something, and vandalism, destroying property. You can read a more complete list of crimes on this page. The link is under this video. Next, the case goes to trial. A trial is an evaluation of the evidence in a place called court. The public official who supervises the process is called the judge. In some cases, there is also a jury, a group of people who make the final decision, which is called the verdict. During the trial, evidence is presented, and often witnesses, people who saw the events in question, are called to testify, make their official declaration about what happened. Their statement is called a testimony. The suspect may give an alibi, saying that he was in a different place when the crime was committed. If the suspect is found to be innocent, then he is acquitted of the charges. If he is found guilty, he is convicted of the crime and sentenced. Sentenced means the judge decides what the penalty will be. Some possible penalties are paying a fine. That means paying money as a penalty for doing something bad. Doing community service. This is often used for misdemeanors, minor crimes. Imprisonment or jail time. And some countries have capital punishment, the death penalty, where the criminal is executed. If the person believes the verdict was unjust, he can appeal the decision. That means taking the case to a higher authority, for example, from a state court to a federal court, for a new decision. The higher court can overturn, reverse, or change the previous verdict. Civil law. As mentioned earlier, civil law involves resolving conflicts between individuals and/or organizations. A few examples of civil law cases are divorce and child custody proceedings, when two parents are separating and need to decide who will keep the children and how much child support will be paid. Child support is money for the kids' expenses. Landlord and tenant disputes. Conflicts between property owners, the landlord, and property renters, the tenant. For example, regarding damage done to an apartment or disagreements about the rental contract. Personal injury or property damage. That's when one person sues, takes legal action against another person or company for damage to his body or his property. The legal case is called a lawsuit. The judge needs to decide who had the liability, responsibility for the damage, and if there was any negligence. Negligence is lack of care, not doing things in a reasonable way. In civil law, there are often two parties, the plaintiff and the defendant. The plaintiff is the person who is making the accusation of wrongdoing, and the defendant is the person who is trying to defend himself from that accusation. Often, the settlement, the final resolution, of a civil case involves one side paying the other side damages. Damages is money paid as a compensation for loss or injury. Finally, let's look at 7 idioms that have origins or applications in legal English. Number 1. Bail someone out. Bail is an amount of money that can be paid to get a suspect out of jail while he is waiting for the trial to start. Bailing someone out can have the literal meaning of paying this money to get someone out of jail, or a more general meaning of getting someone out of trouble or a difficult situation. Number 2. Give someone the 3rd degree. This idiom means to use an extremely aggressive style of questioning during an interrogation. Some police officers and lawyers use this style when questioning a suspect. Number 3. Plead the 5th. The 5th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects witnesses from giving information that could incriminate themselves. To plead the 5th means to refuse to answer a question because the response could show that you did something illegal. In informal spoken English, I plead the 5th is used in a joking way when you don't want to answer a question because you are guilty of something. For example, where were you last night? I bet you were out drinking at the bar with your buddies. I plead the 5th. This response implies that I really was at the bar, but I don't want to say so directly. Number 4. I rest my case. This expression is used to say, I have presented all the evidence and proved my point completely. It is often used in an ironic way when the other person says something that proves your point perfectly. For example, we really need to improve our customer service. It's much too slow. What are you talking about? We give all customers a response within 7 days. I rest my case. I rest my case implies that 7 days really is a very slow time to respond to customers. Number 5. A slap on the wrist. This expression means a very light punishment, which is lighter than the person deserved. For example, if someone is driving drunk and kills 3 people, but only goes to prison for 6 months, we would say, he just got a slap on the wrist. Number 6. Blow the whistle. Blowing the whistle means telling the public or the authorities about illegal activities occurring inside a company, government, or organization. The person who does this is called the whistleblower. This expression comes from sports, where the referee blows a whistle to stop the game after an illegal activity. Number 7. The jury is still out. Remember that a jury is a group of people who make a decision about a legal case. Saying the jury is still out means that the case has not yet been decided, especially when there is not yet enough information to make a final decision. This expression is used both for real legal cases and for other situations in which the evidence is not 100% clear and conclusive. For example, the jury is still out on whether or not our advertising campaign is working. We'll need to wait a few more weeks to analyze all the results. You've finished Lesson 23. Take the quiz to test your vocabulary and log in tomorrow for Lesson 24, English for Science and Engineering.